Welcome back, everyone, to Season 3, Episode 20 of the Inside the Woods podcast, a Valley news show where every week we have been giving you an inside look at Dartmouth Big Green athletics, and this week we're going to focus on men's hockey. I'm your host, Mike Coughlin.
Cleave sends it through, Pino kicks it, 5 seconds left, Shostak has the puck, and the Brown Bears have upset Dartmouth. A win and a tie. Oh, look at that. If that's not what sport's all about, I don't know what is.
Those were the closing moments of the Big Green's 4-3 loss at Brown on Saturday on ESPN Plus's broadcast. The Big Green scored late to tie the game and seemingly force overtime, but an even later goal by the Bears dashed those hopes, clinching a win over the Big Green. Hank Cleave scored twice in the loss, and Nikita Nikora also added a goal. That loss was preceded by another contest with late-game issues as the Big Green battled Yale on the road on Friday and looked to be closing in on a win until the Bulldogs scored with under 10 seconds left to force overtime. The Big Green did go on to secure a shootout win after a goal from Nikora. After this weekend's games, the Big Green are now 17-7-2 overall, 11-5-2 in conference play, and are now 14th in the nation in the latest USCHO.com rankings. On this week's show, I had Big Green head coach Reid Cashman and standout junior netminder Emmett Croteau on the show as they prepare for 2 more road contests, RPI on Friday at 7 and Union on Saturday at 5. Now that's it for introductions, so it's time to get on with the rest of the show. Now joining me on the show is Big Green junior goaltender Emmett Croteau. Emmett, who turned 22 in December, was drafted by Montreal in the 2022 entry-level draft. This year for Dartmouth, he has nearly a 92 save percentage, has a 1.99 goals against average, and he is also a semifinalist for the Mike Richter Award, which is given to the nation's top Division I men's hockey goalie. Hi, Emmett. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, I mentioned it in your introduction. You're a semifinalist for the Mike Richter Award. What does it mean to you to be one of 10 goaltenders in the nation in consideration for that award? And how would you evaluate how you've performed this season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a big honor. But I also think it's kind of a testament to how we've been playing and how we've been taking strides as a group throughout the season. So, just looking back at the season so far, I think we've achieved a lot, and I think we've been consistent with what we want to do and extracting what we want to learn and keep growing with through every game. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and we're excited to keep going.
Right, and this past weekend, sort of a tough weekend for the squad with the shootout win against Yale and then loss to Brown. The weekend sort of underscores a trend where the squad has not been as successful on the road as it has been at Thompson Arena. How do you think playing away from home is having an impact on the team's performance?
Yeah, I think, I guess when you look at it from an outside lens, I guess it can appear like we are struggling on the road, but I guess I wouldn't necessarily analyze it like that. I would just think that maybe the games we are playing on the road, we're not playing to our identity the fullest, and whether that's a comfortability coming with that at home or how we're approaching the games, that could be it. But I think we just the couple games that we have been off, they so happen to be on the road, but it just comes down to if we play our identity, we're a really confident group, right? So we kind of approach that with it's just us versus us mentality, and we want to approach every game with that headspace.
Right, and with just 4 regular season games remaining, your team is in a position to host a quarterfinal round of the ECAC tournament for the second time in 3 years. Dartmouth has advanced to the conference semifinals the last 2 years. What's the mood like in the locker room headed towards the postseason? Are there conversations among players about, attempting to break through to that next level, like a conference championship and potentially a berth in the NCAA Division I men's hockey tournament?
Yeah, I think we obviously we like to keep things, at our feet, right? Just kind of stay in the present moment. But obviously it's an exciting feeling looking ahead and having an opportunity to do that. But we want to just keep making sure that our next practice, our next game is the most important thing that we have on our plate. So I think if we approach with that headspace again, then it's just we're taking strides every day and we're setting ourselves up for success when that moment comes. So.
Right, and finally, when we have a student athlete on the show, we like to hear about their experience at Dartmouth. Could you, tell our audience a little bit about how you've enjoyed your time on and off the ice at the college?
Hmm. Yeah, I think my journey here is a bit different than the usual student athletes. But I transferred in here after my freshman year, and ever since I stepped foot on this campus, ever since I talked to the staff and my teammates here at Dartmouth, I've just loved every minute of it. It truly feels like being a part of a family and a really strong culture. So just regardless of whether I'm at the rink or I'm in class or I'm interacting with my peers, like it's a huge honor to kind of share this space with so many people that have done so much in the past and then in the present and to get here, right? So I just look at it every day as an honor and just to be grateful for everything that Dartmouth has brought to me and will continue to bring to me.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Emmett. I really appreciate it, and I wish you and your teammates luck this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Before our interview with Reid, it is time to go inside the numbers on the Big Green's next matchups with RPI and Union. The Big Green enters the weekend with the 9th-ranked scoring offense in the nation, averaging over 3.5 goals per game, and the 8th-ranked scoring defense, allowing a little over 2 goals per game. Dartmouth saw both of its upcoming opponents recently, picking up a 4-2 win over Union on January 30th and a 3-1 win over RPI on January 31st, both of which were at home. RPI is 8-21-1 this season and is coming off a 6-1 win over Colgate on Valentine's Day. The Engineers have the 57th-ranked scoring offense in the country, getting a little over 2 goals per game, and the 52nd-ranked scoring defense, allowing over 3.5 goals per game. As for Union, it is 18-10-2 this season and is currently on a 2-game win streak, with its latest win coming on Valentine's Day 4-1 over a top 10 ranked team in Cornell. The Garnet Chargers will face Harvard Friday before welcoming the Big Green to town on Saturday. Union owns the 6th-ranked scoring offense in the nation, averaging over 3.5 goals per game, and the 22nd-ranked scoring defense, allowing a little over 2.5 goals per game. The X factor in these matchups will be the venue. While the Big Green have been almost unbeatable at Thompson Arena with a 13-1-1 record, they have struggled on the road with a 4-6-1 record. At home, the Big Green are averaging almost 4 goals per game and allowing just over 1.5 goals per game. But on the road, Dartmouth's scoring slows down a bit, averaging under 3.5 goals per game, and even more important, it allows an average of 3 goals per game away from Thompson Arena. So the Big Green will aim to pick things up in its final road games of the regular season. With all that said, it's time for our interview with Reid to get his take. Joining me on the show once again is Dartmouth men's hockey head coach Reid Cashman. His squad is ranked 14th in the nation in the latest USCHO.com rankings after this past weekend's games. Hi, Reid. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, sort of a tough weekend of hockey for the squad. You had a late lead against Yale, but the Bulldogs forced overtime, and that ultimately ended with a shootout win for you on Friday. And then Saturday, the team tied the game late against Brown, but gave up a goal soon after for the loss. What were your biggest takeaways from your latest contests?
Yeah, I mean, I think we there's a lack of just finishing, like finishing periods, obviously finishing games. Like you said that. Yale scores with 8 seconds to go and turns a win into a tie, and you get 2 points instead of 3, and then Brown was it just felt like we were fighting uphill all game. It was just one of those games for whatever reason, but you give our guys credit because we find a way to tie it late, and but really disappointed to turn around and again not finish the game and make sure we got that thing to overtime and to give up that late goal. So we gave up a late goal the second period versus Yale as well. So it's something we talk a lot about, like the last 3 minutes of periods and games, and in general it's been a strength of ours, but this weekend it was not, and something we have to address moving forward.
Right, and given your outstanding record at Thompson Arena of 13-1-1 and a lesser record on the road of 4-6-1, I asked after the Yale game about playing on the road, and you had mentioned to me that you didn't think being on the road was what was impacting your team's consistency or performance. If it's not the road environment or the travel coach, what do you think accounts for the difference in win-loss record away from Thompson?
think obviously we had a lot of home games early in the year, and I think we were playing some really good hockey early in the year. I think as we've gotten into league play, the teams all know each other so well. I think honestly we have a target on our back, and we've earned that, and that's a good spot to be. But teams are playing us really hard, and it's been a good learning lesson for us of how we need to approach games and where we need to be at. And so, we've played a couple teams like Cornell and Harvard are probably the two most teams that really try to match lines. Like the biggest advantage of being at home is you get to change last, right? So Cornell and Harvard were very clearly trying to get matchups versus our best players. But I look at those two games, and I thought we played great at Cornell, and obviously we lose in overtime, and then we played great at Harvard, and that was a really good win for us. So again, I don't think it's the road. I think it's more of the opponent, and kind of just where I think those same games would be the same results at home, I guess, to be frank. And I have a lot of confidence on how we're going to perform this weekend.
Right, and also on the show this week, I have one of your goaltenders, Emmett Croteau. Emmett was recently named a semifinalist for the Mike Richter Award, meaning he's one of 10 goalies in Division I men's hockey being considered for the recognition that goes to the nation's top netminder. Could you tell our audience a bit about what Emmett has meant to your squad this season, and give them your thoughts on seeing him in the running for this award?
Yeah, Emmett and Rowan have both played great all year, but Emmett's taken over the net here, and has been really consistent in his performance and in his preparation. I think anytime you get acknowledged for something like the Mike Richter Awards, it's a huge credit to him, but I think it's also a credit to his teammates that play so hard in front of him. But it's hard to win hockey if you don't have goaltending, and we feel really fortunate to have two good goalies, but certainly Emmett has had himself a really good year.
Right, and with just 4 regular season games remaining, your team is in a position to host a quarterfinal round of the ECAC tournament for the second time in 3 years. Dartmouth has advanced to the conference semifinals the last 2 years. What's the mood like in the locker room headed towards the postseason? Are there conversations among coaches about, breaking through that next level, like a conference tournament championship or, berth in the NCAA Division I men's hockey tournament?
No, not specifically. I think first of all, I think the mood is it's great. Like, our guys are excited. Even, that was a really tough loss on Saturday, and our guys were smiling on Monday. Like, they came ready to get better and to learn and acknowledge where we fell short, but also some things that we did well that we can build on. And so that we have great leadership. We have a lot of character. That part has been great as far as breaking through or any of those things. Not specifically, but we do know we're in a position to have success in the postseason, and we've earned that position, and we just want to keep building over the last 4 games. The goal has always been to play our best hockey when the playoffs come, and it's never a straight line. There's ups and downs, but that's been our goal. And we got 2 weeks and 4 games to keep building our game so that when the playoffs come, we're a really tough out for whoever we play, and whether that's the ECACs or hopefully the NCAAs as well.
Right, and before we get to the excitement of the ECAC tournament, like you said, you've got business to take care of, including matchups with RPI and Union this weekend, once again on the road. What do you think will be the biggest keys to coming out with a couple of victories against teams you beat at home a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I think they're both playing really good hockey right now. Union is, they outplayed Cornell, even though it went to a shootout, and then they beat Colgate 6-1, and they're just really structured. They're really well coached. We're going to have to, we're going to have to be the best versions of ourselves. Like, we have to have our identity, the pace of our game, our skating. Like, we have to make it really uncomfortable for both these teams. And, RPI is going to be a little bit, more structured, and they're not going to turn pucks over. They're going to make it hard to get to their net. And so we're going to have to be patient in that game, I think, and not force it. And then on the flip side, Union's been scoring like crazy here for the last month, and we have to be really aware of their high-end skill and some of those forwards, and you just can't afford to make mistakes and feed their transition because they have a really high-powered offense.
All right, well, thanks very much for coming on the show again, Coach. I really appreciate it, and I wish you and your squad luck this weekend.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that was Season 3, Episode 20 of the Inside the Woods podcast. As always, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week to talk more about Dartmouth athletics. Till then, enjoy the rest of your week.